And this time we're back for real. Hello. I think we had a short technical issue that now has hopefully been resolved, and we are now cooking with gas and full thrusters ahead for episode 11 of The Dead Within. So where were we? We were introducing all the players. We were introducing Lynne, who's playing
Francis Beld, private detective.
not Georgina, Jema, who's playing
Georgina Sullivan, sculptress.
Becky, who's playing
Oh, hello. This column has been written by Eleanor Wright.
and Jayson, who's playing
Maxime Lawrence Elliot dilettante.
Excellent. Okay. So episode 11. But what happened in episode 10? I hear you asking. Well, we can tell you. In fact, Jason's going to tell you. Go for it, Jayson.
Okay. So we started the session in the bottom of the lake, or it looked like it was the bottom of a lake. Very eerie, and we were led in by Bella, who was taking us to her mother. We were all very skeptical, though, as we got further in, as the Losny started appearing and hunting us. And in fact, at one point, we did try and bolt away from them. But as we got closer to Bella's mother, it seemed like they weren't coming any closer to us, at least. And she kind of welcomed us. Robert was there as well, Georgina's fiance. Robert was quite worried about things because of how people died who were sent to the bottom of this lake. It wasn't people we found that just died of old age or anything, like that. It was people who had been killed when they were young or committed suicide, something like that. And Anna was adamant as well, going forward, that the living and the dead cannot exist together or live together. So after we spent a bit more time there, we found like a shrine that we think is where we need to summon Hoover to eventually. We then went out back to the real world with Bella to see Gottman, which was a very uncomfortable experience. But we did get quite a lot of information from him, including the number, which was 77. And he gave Eleanor 77 seeds. He also gave me a quartz, which out of character was terrifying, like a quartz block, which gives us a nice hefty bonus when we do stuff, apparently. But it has a sort of a glowing in the center, which we think is to do with Hoover. We also hatched a plan with Gottman in order to kill Krylov, and he's very keen for us to do that. So that is hopefully what we're going to be doing next in the dead of the night.
That's not going to go wrong at all.
No.
Sounds like you have it all worked out, which is marvellous.
We have to meet Pallister.
We do have to meet Pallister as
We
well.
did,
Yes,
yeah.
Pallister. Yeah.
Yes.
And
Well, I mean,
the question then is, how much do we actually tell him? Like, do we just get him to come with us, or do we?
I thought that would be unsafe.
Do we really need another person to be kind of stuck somewhere weird with us?
Oh, I didn't mean into the lake. I rather meant to be extracted with us, to leave Russia.
Well, we can ask.
So you were thinking about maybe getting him to kill Krylov then? Sorry, just miles away there.
Oh, I thought Maxime was going to do that. Although I still would like to hear from you, Maxime, if you're okay with doing that. I mean, it is a big ask.
Look, whilst I know that I said I was implying that I could do it, I was merely so uncomfortable with that chap. I wanted the conversation to end as soon as possible, frankly. I was expecting it to be a group effort, at least. I don't really want to be the one to kill a man unnecessarily and have it all on me. Having said that, I know that he attacked Francis and tried to kill you, so...
How about you, Francis?
Well, if I was any good of a shot and I had a rifle, it would be a different matter. But
I've got a
Think to look
rifle.
somebody in the eyes and kill them. Trust me.
This was my concern. I mean, it's such a big ask to do, and you know, how are we to do it if we're not actually prepared to take a life? Then
If we are to look at this philosophically, he is supposedly in the middle of some kind of trance when we're supposed to do it. So if he is in a trance, he won't feel anything, would he? He wouldn't even notice.
I don't know. They've never killed anyone.
it's a very
And again, if we
set of
don't,
Yes, that's it, isn't it? If we don't,
Gottman is not going to be very happy.
well, if we don't, then we've got two things to worry about. Gottman, who I have a very bad feeling would be more than capable of making our lives absolute hell, however long it took for Huber to actually come through and finish the job off.
He was a very unpleasant thing.
And having made promises to someone like that, unfortunately, we are going to have to keep them, because they're the sort of person that if you don't keep your promises to, they will make you pay and wish that you had.
Well, either way, it's a little academic until we can actually find the man and complete the other things. It may be that he'll attack us and we'll have to defend ourselves.
he'll be performing the ritual as I understand it.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
If
Gottman says he
as-
performs it every night.
Yep.
Gottman did say that if he isn't distracted by that, then he would easily be able to deal with us.
Yes.
Well, we do
That's
have a
right.
rifle.
You're having
If anyone
this
is a
discussion-
good shot.
The nearest I've been to a good shot is having it as an answer in a crossword puzzle.
No,
You're having this
no one.
conversation at Anna's house because you stayed there overnight,
Yeah.
and
Yes.
Anna
Very quietly.
Anna appears about 6 o'clock in the morning, so you can come down and talk to her if you wish over breakfast. I'm presuming this is a conversation you're having maybe before you go downstairs or something.
Yes.
Mhm. Now, so what is our plan for the day?
Well,
We're going to
we
see
need
if we
to
can see Mr. Palliser.
Yep.
So he should be, if he comes in today, it will again should be around midday. So you've got that, and then Krylov is supposed to be performing his nightly ritual around about 12 o'clock midnight. So that's your two big appointments for the day.
Between, I would suggest we get back to that hut with our possessions and borrow a boat.
Yes.
Yes, I think it would be a good idea actually if we got Oleg to actually row us there and back, because let's face it, we're gonna have to do it at night. None of us really know how to row particularly well. We don't know the waters, and just the opportunity for complete disaster with us taking out an unfamiliar boat on unfamiliar waters in the middle of the night.
I
It's
do have a
pretty high.
little experience with boats.
Cool. Well, I mean,
But
you have the option
this is
to,
dark.
you know, if you are going to, you know, take the boat route, you do have the option of either, you know, borrowing a boat and doing it yourselves, or getting Oleg to, you know, to do the piloting. That's certainly an option. Of course, there is the other option. You take the long way around and walk it and not use a boat at all. You know, that's potentially another option.
I think I'd like to have multiple options open.
The
So if we
just
get by boat and we have to run, that's good. If we go by foot and we have to have a boat so we can go that way. I like having multiples.
just to
Plan B.
clarify
Hmm.
on the distances, because obviously the first time you went to Oleg's cabin in the colony was the first night, and it was dark, and you got a bit lost. And it took a long time. Having come back the other way now with the sleigh and everything, it's about a mile. It's not far at all. It's only, it'd be like a 20-minute walk, 10 minutes at most, probably on the sleigh, to get, to go back to the cabin, just so you're aware in terms of timing. So you can, you could get back there this morning before midday and back again, or you could go after midday. It's entirely up to you.
I wonder if there are any speedier options, like a small motorboat, although it could be noisy.
It'd be noisy.
You
Well,
hear
we could-
breakfast getting served downstairs, and smells of food and coffee being, warmed up.
All right.
All right, maybe we should go and ask Anna what her relationship with this peculiar chap is as well, because he seemed to, he was talking about her as his priestess and all sorts of weirdness.
I'm wondering if that's just something that he calls her, as opposed to that is what she actually does.
Let's ask her.
I can just envisage that with a person like him.
He was very creepy. All right, I'm going to suggest that we go downstairs and have breakfast and coffee and chat to Anna a bit more.
Sounds good.
Yes.
Okay. You head downstairs, and Anna is there, as well as Bella and Anna's mother. There's breakfast for you all ready. Anna is pleased to see you, and is very, very quickly gets into, did you, well, not did you, but how did your meeting with Gottman go?
He seems very infatuated with you. That's for sure. It was quite uncomfortable.
He is a strange one.
He did say he was courting you.
She kind of shakes her head a little bit and says, yes, he seems to have taken a shine to me. But I cannot loathe the man. He is too boastful, and I do not like the way his skin moves.
Yes, we saw that too.
I know what you mean.
Are you sure he's a man, Anna?
It is best not to speak of such things in the morning.
Quite.
What did you learn from him? Did you learn what was needed?
We did, yes.
Yes.
We now have everything we need to do the ritual bar one thing.
What is the
one ritual?
One thing you require?
The ritual.
That on this side, a powerful wizard that is more powerful than any casting of the ritual we can do is summoning Hubor here. So we have to stop that from happening in order for our own ritual to have any merit.
And this wizard, you know who this is?
Krylov.
Ah, the one who's, yes, the one with my name in his book. Your name's in his book, yes?
Yes.
Yes. It makes sense. If he is Paul, if his call attracts Hubert to here, then to sever that call would set him adrift, and then for you to call him back to Zarth, to the place we were, then that call would be much stronger. Yes, I can see the wisdom in Gottman's words there. Yes, that makes sense. How do you propose to kill this Krylov?
Well, the exact method we haven't quite figured out yet, but we know that we have to do it while he's singing his song, presumably calling to Huber while he's distracted, because otherwise we have no choice.
Where does he sing his song?
We know the rough location, but apparently we have to use this trinket that Gottman gave us to find him exactly.
But roughly where? It is near here?
It's
I
not
believe
far
it's
from
the other
here.
side of the lake.
Yes, on
the lake.
rocks. Yeah.
You will need Oleg's boat then.
Yes.
Yes, we think
Yes.
so. But to be honest, murdering people in cold blood is not really any of our fortes.
No, and neither should it, she smiles. But there are times when we must work and do tasks we would not normally for the good of all.
But I do know a soldier on the other side. My brother.
Yes.
Would
That
he
may
do
be
it
possible.
though, Eleanor? You know he wants to come back desperately. He's not necessarily going to help make sure that he can't come back.
It's true.
If your brother, and she kind of looks at Bella but doesn't say anything. She says, if your brother is, if these things are brought about by Huber, I doubt whether these things would work against Huber in such a sharp fashion. It remains to be seen. She kind of shakes her head.
I'm yet to understand how to reliably call him anyway.
Perhaps it is best that the living take care of the living.
Yes.
I have to agree with Maxime.
Yes, that sounds true, she says. She says, well, eat your breakfast, and when do you intend to do this thing?
Late.
There's
He
no
does
point
his-
putting it off any longer.
Today, you mean?
Yes, later tonight.
Yes, we mustn't leave it. But I do need to learn this thing. Who can teach it to me?
Why, I think it would be an idea for Anna to learn too.
Just in case one of us.
Yes.
The more people who do
That's a
it, the
good
stronger the
idea.
call will be.
Yes.
Would you be willing to learn this strange thing, Anna? This chant?
I would. Yes, I would look at it. Yes.
We have one chance to call Huber back, and if once we are gone, having someone here who could repeat the work if it was needed. I mean, you live here.
Yes, she says she will learn this if you will teach it to her today.
All right. Well, I think that's a few. Then we'll probably need to concentrate and do that whilst some of the others go and meet Palliser, go and look for Palliser.
Or did we decide I had the crucifix as the card-carrying Catholic?
I haven't
It was
got it.
Georgina, wasn't? Oh no.
Oh, was it? Oh yes, she gave it to me.
That's
Yeah,
right.
she did. She gave it to me because I was the nice one.
That's true.
But I can always, you
Yeah.
can pass it on.
Yeah. So which one of us three is going to teach Georgina and Anna this ritual? Because we all know it. Do we still have a written copy of it, or did we destroy those?
We destroyed it,
Destroyed those.
so other people couldn't see it or find it.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. It can easily be written back down again, though.
This is true.
So you've got meeting with Palliser, someone to teach the spell, and then you've got to decide when you're going to go back to Oleg and sort this boat thing out.
I think we need to get the boat sorted out as soon as possible. So I think we go and see Oleg, get the boat sorted out, come back, then split. Some of us go and try and see Palliser. Some of us teach Georgina and Anna the spell.
Okay.
Having cast the spell previously, perhaps I'm the best person to teach it.
That makes
You
sense.
have spoken it and had it have
it
some
worked.
effect. So yeah. All right. Thank you, Becky. I mean, Eleanor.
Eleanor is my name. I don't know who
Sorry,
Becky
Eleanor.
is. Is this another dead person?
You
You've
named
done...
me there. It's obviously just getting too much for me.
So Eleanor will. So who's going to Oleg's before you go and see Palliser? Who's actually going?
Definitely. Anybody else? Is anybody
yeah.
else going to come and help me load up the sleigh so we can get all of our stuff back into
Yeah.
town, into Anna's?
I'm assuming I'm going to drive the sleigh anyway, so.
So okay,
Or
so
attempt to
Maxime and
drive it.
Francis are going to go on the sleigh to Oleg's. Eleanor is going to start teaching the spell pretty much straight away after breakfast, kind of thing. That's the plan.
No reason to delay.
Yeah.
And so I presume it's Maxime. So Georgina, what are you going to Oleg's as well? Or are you staying here?
No, I'm staying to
you're learning the spell.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Sorry, I'm catching up now. Okay, so it's just Francine and Maxime are going to be going to see if Palliser's there then, in that case.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, fine.
Oh, he was
makes
grinning
no
then. I
sense.
don't trust it when he grins like that.
I'm just grinning because I'm keeping. I now know what you're doing.
Got to be a first time for everything.
Major victory. Okay.
And
Right,
just to
okay,
stop
so-
you having any opportunity to be cruel, the crucifix is being passed over to one of them.
Yes. Okay.
Well, I might as well
Fine.
take it.
I was just thinking,
Okay.
Francis, if you're going to take hold of the crucifix, would it be worth wearing it so he spots it?
Yes, I can certainly do that later. I'll keep it in my pocket for now. I've already got mine on, but yes, I can certainly put it on later.
Okay. And the other question I have, you borrowed Oleg's rifle. Well, Georgina did. Are you taking that back with you, the pair of you? Or
No, I think from that facial expression, Georgina wants to hang on to it.
Georgina's not letting that rifle, but it's all getting far too hairy. I mean, I might not want to shoot Mr. What's-it in the back of the head with it, but that doesn't mean I don't feel I need it in case I am attacked by monstery things with teeth.
Okay, well, Anna, speaking as Anna's voice, while this is all being distorted, she does ask you whether you've decided how you are going to perform this killing, what form this will take, and she knows you've got a rifle, and she sort of looks at you. Will you be shooting him, or will you be needing a knife, or what?
Oh, no, we have
what
knives.
is your plan?
I have my cane.
We have a sword, we have several knives, and we have a rifle. I think we just have to see. Well, let's just make sure we've got plenty of options.
She says you should definitely talk to Oleg about this. The man is very wise in the ways of hunting and killing.
That's
He
a
may
very
be able
sensible
to help you.
suggestion.
Yes, but he's not getting his rifle back. I mean, I have been clay pigeon shooting. I'm not a terrible shot, but that doesn't mean that I want or feel able to
Okay.
perform.
And Anna said before Francis and Maxime go, she says, whatever this day brings, you will meet back here before you leave tonight. I will perform a blessing on you. It's not a question, it's just a statement, it seems to be. And with that, she sort of ushers you two out the door and turns to Becky and says, right, tell me everything.
Well, firstly, my
And,
name's not Becky.
I don't know even. Lynne has put it in my head now.
Oi, not me.
Oh no, Jema has.
Sorry.
Everyone's name's wrong now. Okay, so Francis and Maxime get the sleigh ready and off you go along the you realise it's been snowing all night. It's a good 6 inches with some very deep drifts you're navigating around, but nothing that the horses can't handle. And you ride on the sleigh out of the town towards the colony. Meanwhile, you start teaching the spell. And it's going to take a few hours to learn this spell, but we can kind of zoom forward a little bit and get you to make a hard intelligence roll.
Yeah, well, we can try.
Do you want that from me as the teacher at all?
No.
No? Okay.
No. We
No.
are assuming, because you made the roll, you know it well. So did you fail that?
I passed a normal, but failed a hard.
Do you want to spend luck on that?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
It will cost 10 luck.
Seems like
But
a
that's
very
fine.
It's nothing.
wise choice to me.
That's
Unfortunately, I just rolled for Anna and she failed in a big way and doesn't have any luck. So I'm afraid she isn't able to learn the spell in that time frame.
In
Well,
some
she'll
ways,
just
that's
have to keep
possibly- that's
studying.
not necessarily as bad as it could be, because at least then she can't betray us.
Well, she can
Not
keep
that I don't trust
trying.
you, but you know.
I don't know what you're insinuating, Francis.
Dear, my luck's going down like sand out of a sand timer now.
How much have you got left now?
Well, to be fair, I've still got 40, so I'm not too horrific.
I'm on 18.
I was going to say, I think you're still better than the rest of us.
Some of us
Oh, dear.
are spending it very frugally.
Yeah.
Okay, right. Well, meanwhile, rushing through the snow, it doesn't, as I say, it doesn't take very long now. You know where you're going, and it's daylight to find the colony again and Oleg's cabin. In fact, he's outside chopping wood with his big axe, and greets you as you ride in. Let's just have a pilot sleigh roll, just see how well you pull up.
Right.
Yeah, whether he's impressed or not.
That's
When
yeah,
your
that's
face
a
went into it.
great fail.
Okay, so you pull up, but it's a bit of a mess, and he just sort of stands looking, laughing at you, basically going, still much to learn, he says. As you
Actually, I did just fine on the way in. It's a bit deeper now.
Yes, it has been snowing. It will stop later, though. It will be clear tonight. I can tell you this, he says. And he says, where are the others?
They have business in town.
And your business is here?
For
It
now,
is.
yes.
We need to
very
talk
good.
to you.
You need to talk to me. Well, come and sit down on these logs I've just cut in a rustic fashion. and as I brew some coffee or something, and we shall sit and talk of things of importance.
Maxime takes out a silk hanky and kind of lays it on the log before sitting on it.
Excellent. So once you're settled down, he says, "So, what do you need to know? How can I help you?"
What's the best way to kill a man?
He pauses and says, "There are many ways. It all depends. It all depends on the man and the situation. Who do you have to kill?"
A man
A
that you may
man-
know of.
And a man who is
Krylov.
intent on wreaking great evil on this world.
Krylov, I don't really know
is
the
a
name
wizard.
very. Then he must die. It is clear. Is it clear that these things are not meant to be? If he is clearly a wizard, then I will help you. Tell me, how are you to do this thing?
That's what we
Well-
need your advice on.
Yes, although I feel a bit more reassured that you are going to help. But we have a window of opportunity to get rid of him when he is trying to perform some sort of song or trance. So he will be distracted. And only then can we
And
kill him.
when will this be?
Midnight
You
tonight.
must tell me
Sounds
your
enough.
details. I need to understand. So this night,
Mhm.
at
Midnight
night time,
tonight.
this night,
Mhm.
At what time? At what time will this be happening?
A little after midnight. Midnight is when he performs the ritual. That was when we will have our opportunity.
It will be clear and crisp then. It would be a good time. And where will this man be?
He will be out on the rocks on the other side of the lake. We don't know his exact location, but we do have a means of finding it. We have been given a
Right.
means of finding it.
We have a wayfinder.
Right. Yes. He starts mentioning place names like Povignets and places like that, on the other side of the lake. And he says, well, it will be on the shore of the lake or on the other side of the lake.
When possibly not entirely sure. But like Francis says, we do have a method of finding him, and we'll be able to do so as we're moving.
To go by water across the lake would be the quickest way and the quietest way, less likely under darkness to draw attention to yourselves. There are guards and the canal building on the other side of the lake, not far beyond. So there are guards and soldiers there. To go by road, you risk being stopped by guards who patrol the area. I would recommend boats. I have a boat. I can pilot you across.
Thank you.
It will take 4 hours or so to cross the lake. You wish to be there by midnight, then we must leave no later than 8 o'clock tonight.
Okay.
From the shore in Medvedya Gora,
Okay.
where my boat is. How do you intend to kill this man?
That's what we need your advice on. Anna recommended we talk to you to find the best way to kill a man like this. I was a soldier, but a very long time ago.
If the man is occupied with this song, you say, then a rifle shot from a distance. There would be no need to get close to him other than to check that the bullet has done its job. You could perhaps do from the shore. or even from the boat, although I'm unsure of your skill with a rifle and whether how steady you would be upon a boat, upon the water. So I might suggest you stand up on the rocks and get a little closer, perhaps. How is your aim?
I
Mine is
didn't
terrible.
do rifle in my Olympic tutoring. It was all
So you
boxing and
cannot.
fencing.
So your shot is not good then.
The person who is best at shooting in our party is Georgina, but she has only shot clay pigeons.
He just kind of shrugs a bit and doesn't look very hopeful in his eyes, and says, well, maybe a knife would be the cleanest way then, perhaps, or at least
As a backup.
to ensure the
Yes,
the job
handy.
was done. The rifle may be risky. A shot that didn't find its mark may rouse your target.
Yes, that's true.
Warn of your approach.
He might
Unless
snap
you are
out of it.
certain the shot can be made, a more bloody approach may be required. He kind of says that fairly grimly.
Well,
Yeah.
with a sword stick, it shouldn't be bloody. It should be hopefully clean. I've just never killed a man with it before, but I've killed one of those awful Zolozny with it.
He kind of turns very suddenly and kind of grips both of your hands and kind of holds them up, looking at the hands and looking right into your eyes and says, "Yeah, yes, I hear what you say, but can you kill a man?" And he kind of looks into your eyes and do you want to, I mean, do you want to, how do you want to react? Do you want to impress upon him that you could do it? Or do you want to kind of just go, I don't know? Or how do you want to
the whole
play that?
Is this Maxime's hands he's grabbed?
Yes, because Maxime just talked about not
Mhm.
kind of quite sure whether he could kill a man or not. And he's kind of, pressing the point to say, but can you kill a man to set upon this journey tonight? You must be sure. And he's kind of looking for a bit of conviction, I guess you'd say.
So Maxime will quickly glance at Francis and say, well, this man did try and kill my friend. So if there was any reason for me to do it, then I have, a motive.
I'm going to smile very sadly at Maxime. While I appreciate the gesture, you've not killed before. I have, and it might have been a very long time ago, but we get one chance at this. And if you can't be sure you can do it, then it's not wise for you to try. I don't particularly want to do this, but I know I can do it.
Oleg kind of looks into Maxime's eyes and says, it just shakes his head and says, you are not ready for this. And sort of lets you go and turns to Francis and says, it falls upon you. If you have done this before, then it is your burden to shoulder.
Let's face it, Georgina's bound to be a terrible shot.
Georgina's got all the luck. So
hey, I'm hanging on to my 33 points of luck for as long as I can because I have a feeling I'm going to need it.
Yeah, Lady Luck with her 40 points.
So I mean, he says, I would. He said, if your friend, the rifle clay pigeon shooter, were here, I would spend the day, perhaps, training and testing the skill with the rifle. But your friend is not here, so it seems, and you. He sort of looks at Francis. It says, you are not a rifle shooter, you say. It seems that this would be a waste of my time.
Mhm.
But he says, so I will Now, do you, before I say anything more, do you mention Anna in any of this? The fact that you're meeting back at Anna's, are you telling him to meet you at Anna's, or are you just leaving it for him to kind of stand by a
I
boat
think
at
I
8
said
o'clock?
that
Or
Anna had told us we needed to talk to him.
you did. That's right.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
So he says, I will meet you at Anna's house this evening before, 7 o'clock, ready for 8 o'clock to depart. Then I will ensure I am ready for this night.
Thank you.
And is there anything else? You want from Oleg at this point?
I'm gonna just go and have a quick rummage in the stuff I left behind, see if there's anything that I actually want. I don't think there is anything I need from what's left here. We might as well leave it here. There's no point in taking it all back into town.
You do actually need. Oh, I'm not there.
Telepathy.
Telepathy.
So what has Francis and Maxime forgotten then?
I'm not saying.
Oh, the camera. I might as well grab my camera. I've just flicked down to my equipment list. Yes, I'll grab the camera. I might as well. What the heck?
Okay, you take the camera then. And then do you pretty much, having had a cup of tea with Oleg and a good chat, do you basically just now head back into town so you're in good time
must be getting on for when the boat comes in.
I'm going to say you need to kind of have a fairly sharpish turnaround now to make sure you are in good time so you're not late, I guess. So that's fine. So you two head back into town. Oleg will give you a couple of tips on how to pull the horses up, just so you don't damage the sleigh anymore. But other than that, it's all good. Meanwhile, back in town, can I have a okay, so can I have an int roll from Eleanor, please?
Oh, that's me.
Yes, we established that was your name.
Not sure we established what my name actually was. I passed with a regular pass.
Okay, pass, regular pass. Okay, in that case then, Georgina, can you give me a luck roll?
I can. No.
Okay.
Oh no. Oh no.
No, I was not very lucky.
Okay, fine. So I was going to say you learn this spell pretty quickly, but you don't. But you do, by the time that these two get back, you have more or less got it down now. And you feel confident that you know what to do, especially if Eleanor is kind of, giving you the, now do this, now do that. And then, you pretty much memorized the phrases. You haven't perhaps got every single kind of ritual element down, but you know that Eleanor seems to really know that. So you feel confident that you could support and, do make your best effort in terms of doing the thing. Because you're also probably thinking that spending the rest of the day inside this house learning this spell is driving you up the wall. But it's entirely up to you. But the Francis and Maxime do appear. It's about 11:45 when they get there. So they're pretty much arrive. Hello, we've got to go to the the station to see if we can see Palliser arrive. So it's up to you whether you want to join them or not, you two.
I think if I've got the gist of it, I'm a bit bored now.
Need to keep working with Anna, clearly.
Flaky bunch.
If all else fails, there is a 4-hour boat trip where you could go over it a little bit.
I'm not sure that going over it while we're on the actual lake is necessarily the smartest plan.
Oh,
Fairly
yes, I
obvious
see.
reasons.
Oh, dear.
Might be all right, might not, don't know. So Eleanor, are you coming with them to the station, or are you gonna
No,
try and
clearly I
carry on
still
with
need
Anna?
to. I need to do some work with Anna still.
Okay, fine. Okay, right. So the three of you need to kind of quick, sharpish get off. So you do, leaving Eleanor with Anna. Anna clearly is not getting it for some reason. Mate, she keeps kind of interrupting and telling you, but yes, but in Russian, what we would do is this, and like, you know, she clearly knows her stuff in terms of, you know, what you might call Russian head magic.
I need that whole Gandalf doing the dark speech moment, don't I? Where I kind of creep up.
Yeah. But you find that she's doing that to you. Like, but I would use the left hand to do this bit, not the right hand, and this would be clearly this way round and not that way round. And it's one of those kind of she clearly knows what she's talking about, but she's not doing what you're telling her, because she's, you know, she said, but my way's better. But it's not working, unfortunately, for the time being anyway. The rest of you scurry off through the town towards the station. Again, it's standing or sitting in the station area, either in the waiting room or just outside, looking down onto the harbour. Hopefully is going to be the best place to get a vantage point to see Palliser arrive, or at least, you know, to get an idea about arriving. When you get to the station, there are a number of kind of, you know, peasant men, women, and children around. There's the station waiting room is, you know, relatively busy today. There's a stove on and chairs, and everyone seems to be huddled around in there because it is pretty cold. There's three men standing outside, one in a leather jacket and two in kind of military type tunics that kind of catch your eye. Do you want to make a psychology roll?
We can try to make a psychology roll, see if I can identify which set of dice are going to play nicely today. Oh, this set, that's a hard success.
Definitely no.
Oh no, it's not. Sorry, it's just it's a regular success.
No, I'm too busy sketching the lovely fishing village.
Okay. Your best guess, Francis, is you think they are, if they're not army, they your guess would they'd be the Secret Service, they'd be OGPU people. They just got that look about them that you've seen many times in Leningrad and Moscow from the people following you. Unusually, there are 3 cars parked near the station that you've not seen there before on your, you know, previous day kind of thing. Are you looking across the lake? Are you using binoculars or just using your eyes?
Well, I've got my little opera glasses.
Yes.
So yeah, I'm going.
I suppose if the both of us do it, it won't look as stupid or attract too much attention.
Do you want me to go and distract them by going and talking to Palliser? So while they're focused on me, you can have a quick look.
All right. And have you got the cross out?
Yeah. I sort of like, well, mind you, I have to be careful because the communists don't particularly like that. I'm going to have to be. So I will slip it on, but I will make sure it's underneath my coat so I can do a quick. I'm trying to do a sneaky flash gesture, but you can't actually see my hands. And it's like I shall sit up and certainly do this sort of sneaky.
Oh, okay.
Can I interest you?
In case one of them is Palliser, as it were. Okay, fine.
Yes.
Like a sieve.
Okay. They don't seem to. I mean, one of them looks across, but just looks a little confused and doesn't really think she. Kind of looks past himself, thinking that you didn't mean him, because they don't seem to have any kind of acknowledgement in terms of, you know, they don't seem to know you, and they don't seem to be interested in whatever you're doing. Meanwhile, those of you who've got opera glasses out, you can make out that you can see that you don't really need an opera glass at this point, but you can see there is a boat boat is heading towards the shore from around the kind of spit of land that comes out into the lake that you because we saw last time. But as you're doing that, a train pulls in. It's pretty noisy. And within a few minutes, there's like 40 or 50 Red Army soldiers getting off, shouting, and sergeants shouting, and officers. And there's a load of blokes in leather coats and green or grey army jackets, and some people in civilian clothes. And 3 policemen have appeared from nowhere, seeming to be standing to attention, saluting this group of people who are arriving. There's as you kind of like look really, turn around, kind of see what's going on, you sort of see this clearly. One of these people is clearly getting a bit of special treatment. There's a kind of deferential kind of things going on to this. Is a slight bloke with a kind of small moustache and a kind of fairly ill-fitting greatcoat. He's kind of led away by the police and into these cars. Meanwhile, the soldiers have formed up and then start marching off in the same direction the cars went. The 4 civilians who don't seem to be with that lot take a seat in the station building, not too far away from you. And you see 2 soldiers come in and join them. Otherwise, it's pretty quiet now that all the soldiers have gone. It's all makes it pretty quiet again. You see the cars going off in the distance with this dignitary, and you see some 5 trucks or so. So they come out and kind of join a little convoy heading off out of sight. And it all goes back quiet as you're watching this boat coming in. Still not quite there. It's still a few minutes away before it's going to hit the shore. And now all the excitement's gone over. Suddenly, you hear a noise of a car, and a small black Citroen kind of pulls up towards the station, stops, and 2 men get out. One passenger is not wearing a hat, got a shaved head, thin face, dressed in a heavy kind of military coat. And then the driver is pretty much the same, but it's much more broadly built, wearing a kind of leather jacket, and it's got kind of blonde hair under a fur cap. They kind of get out, look around, and the bald-headed guy looks over at you 3 and starts to walk towards you.
Does this look anything like a younger version of the guy that tried to shoot me throttle me in Leningrad?
As he gets closer, you kind of say, no, not a younger version. Looks like the version, other than he's not wounded and he's not got blood dripping down from him and tears in his coat and all that kind of thing. But other than that, looks, you'd say, like the same. Can I have a sanity roll, please, from Francis particularly?
Bugger. Hang on, let me just double check what my sanity actually is. Other than rapidly plummeting. Oh, no.
Okay, could you lose a point as you let out a kind of startled kind of gasp, really, as you realise this, which he seems to kind of note, but doesn't seem to register anything on his face.
I have a really horrible feeling, guys.
What is it, France?
Not here.
This bloke walks over, followed by the bloke in the fur cap. They walk directly over to you, particularly Francis. But obviously the 3 of you are kind of together, and he kind of looks. He looks at Francis, and then he looks each of you each of you quite briefly, kind of looking into your eyes, but there's no kind of recognition in his face. He doesn't seem to know you. And you can see the bloke behind him has got a gun in his belt. This other guy leans forward and produces his OGPU kind of card to say who he is, and you see a name says Zalkind on his thing, and he then stands a little way off, leaving the bold guy kind of still in front of you. He gets out a black notebook that looks kind of familiar-ish, and he's looking at you, and he says, Francis Ball, are you here?
I think we look a bit too British to sort of go.
Like I can deny it, is it?
Yes.
Yes. And you are?
He doesn't seem to hear you. He just says, he sort of checks, he puts a little tick next to, well, presumably maybe your name in his notebook. I don't know. Because then he looks at it again and says quickly, Georgina Sullivan?
Who is asking?
Are you here? You are Georgina, yes?
Usually a gentleman offers his name first.
I am Arkady Krylov.
Oh, very pleased to meet you, Mr. Krylov.
And you are Miss Sullivan?
Miss Sullivan.
Yes, and so this must be Maxime Lawrence.
There's kind of like a slight trembling from Maxime's lips, but eventually he blurts out, yes. Yes.
There's one missing. Eleanor Wright. She is here? He looks around.
No, she's not with us at present.
Where is she?
She is in the town.
In town.
Taking in the sights.
I see. Very good. And he kind of makes a little note in his notebook. He then looks back to Francis and says, you know, tell me truthfully, you know Richard Palliser?
Never met him.
Never met him. Oh, okay. He looks at Georgina. Tell me the truth. You have met Richard Palliser?
No, I have never met Mr. Richard Palliser.
Looks at Maxime and tell me truthfully, you know Nadezhda Palliser?
Well, like the others have said, we have never met him. None of us have.
When did you last see Nadezhda Palliser, Francis Ball?
Oh, what's the
Tell
date
me
today?
truthfully.
No, yeah, what's the date today? I've kind of lost track of time.
2, 3, 4. You saw her about 4 or 5 days ago.
Almost a week ago, I think.
No, a week ago.
I've done so much traveling, I've lost track.
Georgina Sullivan, you met Nadezhda Palliser this time as well?
Yes, around a week ago.
Very good.
It was apparently she who invited us to Russia.
Yeah. And you see a little smile on his face at this point. It seems to the first kind of a bit of emotion you've seen on his face. He's a bit of a smile. he then says, tell me truthfully, do you know a Rudolph Gottman?
We've met a Mr.
How do you know of
what
him?
his first name was.
I'd say no is perhaps a strong word.
Yes, it was.
It's a very unpleasant man. I'm going down that tack as these two obviously appear to be mortal enemies.
Yeah, he nods and makes a little note. And tell me truthfully, how do you know Anna Darariva?
Mr. Krylov, may I ask, is this an official interrogation?
Could you make a power roll, Georgina, please?
Right. I can try, yes. Oh, and copy does. Oh, hello. Yes, I can make a hard power roll.
Yay.
Right. For a moment, you feel this
Paddington Bear stare.
You feel this compulsion to kind of just, speak whatever's on your mind, but you just kind of hold it back. You know why? You just like maybe his voice just seemed to lull you into just, oh, don't worry, but just telling the truth, but you just held back a little bit. He kind of looks at you and nods, writes something down in his book again. Let me ask you one last question, if you don't mind. Tell me truthfully, where are you staying?
Well, in the
he
tower.
Looks at Francis. Francis, can you make a power roll, please?
Oh, hang on. Which button? Oh, it's that button. I've got rubbish power. This is not going to be good. Oh, it's a hard success.
Oh,
there you
very
go.
Lucky.
Yeah.
Very lucky. Again, you feel this kind of, you're just about to say everything, and just this voice in your mind just says, stop, be quiet. And you hold back and seem to resist this feeling to just be really open with him. Just there's no problem here. Just tell him what he needs to know clearly. But your inner voice says that's not a good idea, so you don't. And so what do you tell him instead?
Oh, well, a version of the truth, which is not completely incorrect. So it's some cabin around town. I couldn't honestly tell you what it was called. Is it Dutchess you call them? I don't know.
He kind of sighs, and he just stands there quiet. It's all quite uncomfortable for a moment as he looks back in his notebook and then looks across the three of you again. And he kind of, you see this little kind of wry smile on his face, and you can see some like the cogs whirring in his head, and you're not quite sure what he's thinking, but he smiles and he quickly turns to Maxime and says, "Tell me where you're staying. I didn't catch it. Could you make a power roll from Maxime, please?"
I was hoping you'd miss me out. Oh, but I got a hard success.
He's making it a lot easier to shoot him in the back of the head or run him through with a sword stick, isn't he?
Yeah, if I only had, if I had some NPC luck, it would be really good at this point. However, the same thing for you, Maxime, in all your damn really good rolls, all the three of you. You resist this impulse to just tell him everything, and you hold back. And again, I guess, don't tell him the truth.
No, I say a bit of a Russian name with another bit, and I think, no, it's not that. I can't quite remember what it's called. We only arrived a night or so ago, and it was in the middle of the night.
He says he doesn't say anything. He just looks at you again and sort of does a general kind of nod at you all. Seems, I don't know, the impression you get is he seems satisfied, and he just sort of turns on his heel and just starts to walk away. At which point, Zalkind kind of comes forward again and says, "Your papers."
Yeah, show him.
You show, yeah, show. He looks
Official
looks at your
papers.
papers, and he looks at them, spends a bit of time looking at them, gives you them back, and turns on his heel as briskly as the other, and they both get in their black car and drive off. At which point you see the boat coming into the shore.
Phew.
Oh gosh, I almost forgot. The boat.
He's a very strange man.
Yeah. And you know that bad feeling I thought I had?
Yes.
Looks
Yes, I
exactly the
felt it
same as
too.
the man who tried to kill me in Leningrad, only not beaten up and bloody.
You were
What if we
very
messed this up?
calm, given what he did to
Just
you.
made that's what the little squeak was.
Yeah.
I mean, you can feel pretty certain he's got.
up?
You feel pretty certain he had no idea. You know, he'd never seen you before. You know, whether he was just a really good liar about that, you're not quite sure. But certainly, there didn't seem to be any recognition on his face, other than the only recognition you seem to have is when you answered the names he was giving, and he said, "Ah, yes," and writing something down or ticking names or whatever.
If that strange chap we met in Leningrad first was right about all this time travel nonsense.
But certainly,
then
sorry,
we
go
need
on.
to be more careful
Then
about
what
dispatching.
what if Krylov came after me because we messed up?
Oh, I see.
I think possibly we need to make sure that he is very, very dead.
Yes.
Belt and braces and all that.
Yes.
The one factual bit of information you'd certainly do know now is he does have a black notebook with all your names in it.
We need to destroy that bucket. We
Just
totally
you
need
know,
to
make
destroy that
absolutely
thing.
crystal clear. He has a book with all your names in it.
Hopefully he
That
keeps it
back
on
Okay.
him.
4 men get off this boat. 2 clearly look like kind of army types. A third is in the kind of a military style jacket and possibly also in the army or OGPU. But the last person is in civilian clothes. And looking at him, a 5'8", heavy built, salt and pepper hair, and clean shaven, it rings a bell. You hear Mr. Weston's words in your head when he was describing what John Palliser looked like.
Aha, I think we have our man.
Wow.
And
Yes, hopefully that's him.
And you can decide on how you want to approach him, etc., as him and the 4 of them kind of make their way from the shoreline into the town towards the station, vaguely. What
Are they together? Do they obviously know each other?
Well, they're kind of walking together, but they're not. They seem to be starting to diverge as they get closer to you. It seems like he's kind of going. Well, he's walking towards the station. The others are kind of walking towards the station, but starting to veer off towards the town. So it looks like
Okay.
he is going to kind of come here on his own.
Yeah. I suggest we wait and let them get out of eyeshot and then try and
Yes.
have a chat.
Okay, he walks up to the station and he basically goes to the waiting room and he goes inside and sits down. You see him looking around as if looking for someone, but then sits down and just sits, towards the rear somewhere. And
Wandering. Sit down next
as
to
you
him.
wander in, you hear this ghostly voice saying, "Do you want to have a short break for a cup of tea?"
Oh yes,
It's
that would be
almost
lovely.
like you read our minds.
So, as the
Yes.
ghostly voice has pointed out, now would be a fitting time to have a quick break and a cup of tea. So, please go and have a quick break and a cup of tea, and join us again in 5 or 10 minutes or so, and for the next bit. All right. See you in a minute.
In a minute. All three of us received a letter, allegedly from your wife, although she denies sending them, inviting us to Russia to meet her. Certain other interested parties were keen for us to come along. We met your wife in Leningrad. She gave us this, well, she told us of the letters that you'd sent her asking her to join you, amongst other things. And she asked us to give you her silver crucifix because she couldn't leave Leningrad for
Why?
various reasons.
What? Why couldn't she leave?
Someone from her past was preventing her from doing so.
Is she in danger?
Not for much longer.
He kind of just looks at you, kind of like, "What do you mean?"
Francis.
She will be safe soon. She will be safe soon.
He looks even more worried now. I'm
going to
He's
try and
trying to-
damage imitate as per not fun. And I'm going to very tactfully just push Francis slightly towards, because whilst he has many wonderful qualities, people person not perhaps the same. So I'm going to interrupt the conversation and say it's all right. Nadezhda is safe. She we had tea with her. She's quite lovely. She is fine. She is very concerned about you, however.
Okay. Can I have a persuade roll or something to that effect from Georgina?
I would imagine Maxime would also interject with a bit of charm as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I've got
Keep him okay.
fast talk. Can I try a bit of fast talk, or is it more of a persuade?
Okay. Well, it's more of a persuade, but I'll go for a fast talk if it's a good roll. But I'll tell you what. As Maxime is coming in, Maxime, have you got a persuade or?
I've got charm, persuade no.
Okay, give me a charm roll. If you make this roll, I will give a bonus die to Georgina's roll.
I will spend 2 luck because I can afford 2 luck to get past.
Okay.
There we go.
Okay, so Georgina, you can make your roll. I really need a hard fast talk because I really want a persuade roll, but you do get a bonus die.
Okay. Let's try.
Come on, girl, you can do it.
Oh, I've got. I rolled 15, and my fast talk is at 25. I'm going to spend the luck. I'm going to spend 3 luck and make that up.
Okay. Okay, so he listens to both of you, and you see the kind of reassurance come across his face to some degree. You're still not obviously 100% happy about everything, but he seems slightly better. He then says, from the boat, I saw you talking to a man, a bald-headed man. Why was this man talking to you?
He wanted to check our names and where we were staying.
I have
Yes,
met
he's
this
a
man
member of the
before.
We
I
met him
wondered
before.
if you had.
His name, you know his name?
Krylov.
Yes, he came to see me. I found myself telling him all about my father and my dreams, and I wasn't able to stop myself. It was most strange.
Your
Some say that he
father.
is some say that he is a shaman, a magician.
We have also heard such things.
Yes. I do not trust the man.
Wise not to.
Keep well away from him.
You say he asked you about your father. I take it your father's dead.
Yes. No, yes.
We understand.
He said, would you prefer, now you've kind of cleared the station, he sort of said, would you prefer to speaking English?
That might be quicker.
If you don't mind, it would make life a lot easier.
So I detected you when you were not, Russian. I still am at a loss, other than why you are here, though. Surely not just to deliver Nadeza's message. Surely there is more.
There is
Yes.
more.
Yes.
You know those interested parties we mentioned?
Go on.
They're interested in knowing if you're interested in going home.
Oh. He looks a little taken aback and says, no, I will not. This is my home. I have my wife here, Nadezhda. I will not leave her.
And your wife in England?
Make a psychology roll, Georgina.
If we're having coffee at this point, I spit it
Oh,
out.
she shoots, she scores. That's an insanely good psychology roll.
He
That's like,
is very embarrassed. Very, very. He's trying to cover it, but he's very embarrassed. And he says, Diana's not had the marriage annulled yet, then?
No.
I thought she would have saw reason and done that. There is no love there left now. I've moved on. My life is here. I won't dwell on the past.
But surely you're not happy here, are you?
That's certainly not the impression Nadezhda got from your letters.
I'm not happy in what I am being asked to do, but I am happy with Nadezhda, and I will be with her again soon. This work will finish in time, and I will move on.
What is it that you are being asked to do?
We work on the canal, the Bellamore Canal. There's been many problems with it. Many problems. These interested parties you speak of, what is their interest in my work? That surely must be behind your visit here.
there is
like I
some
said,
concern that slave labour is being used to create the canals, and that people are not being treated well, and that they are not there of their own free will.
These interested parties, who you must give them a name. I'm not prepared to talk unless I know who I'm talking to.
Well, I can give you a name, but I'm not sure it will make you any the wiser. Mr. Weston.
I do not know this name. Who does Mr. Weston work for? Who do you represent?
Well, we largely represent ourselves, but we've been asked by Weston to talk to you. Believe me, we'd much rather not be here either.
Okay. Do you remember what Weston told
Doesn't he
you?
work for the Foreign Office?
He told you to, if anyone asked you, to say that you work for the Foreign Office, not for anyone else. So
Yeah.
I'm saying that out of character, by the way, just to say.
Yeah. It's really. Are you? I'm pushing to. He wants to know which organizer. He's sussed enough. He's not stupid. He knows that. This must be some branch of the British Empire in some way, and he's just trying to figure out, which branch it is. So he's kind of needing something from you. It depends whether you want to say.
I can't remember, but I'm sure Georgina remembers.
So do you say the Foreign Office? Or?
Yeah, I'll be straight with him. And I've got no reason to be cagey.
Okay. He says, I didn't realize the Foreign Office know I'm here. That's
And
he looks
as
a
you
little
ask
alarmed.
Subject, they are concerned.
But I hear it is not good. You are right. Their concerns are true. It is not a good example of the Soviet experiment. It is not to be condoned. If you require information, I will help you.
That would be good.
That would be good.
You will need documents, movement records, personnel files, prison histories, death statistics. He starts kind of listing them off in his head. Paperwork with signatures, named individuals, Frankel or Berman, perhaps. Yes. Berman is the chief of the southern part of the canal. Documents with their names. This would be good. This would be useful. This would be useful to you. Yes, then the story can be told. It can be told, and the Soviet state can be shamed, can be embarrassed by this, and put an end to this terrible thing. Yes,
that is all that anyone wants, is the well-being of the people, comrade.
He nods and says, yes, I will help you then. I will help you. I will get what you need, and I will meet you again in 2 days' time. I cannot get beyond the town of Povinets until the next boat, which yes, you must come to me. The next boat is not for 5 days.
We can come to you. If you can just sketch a little map on my useful sketchbook and give us a time, we will meet you there.
You may have to repeat that again when he unfreezes.
Oh dear.
Oh, and we were doing so well.
We were doing so well, and sadly, Mr. Mike appears to have been shocked into horrific frozenness by our revelation.
Petrification.
So we should probably pause and log in and out again.
And get a little break.
Yeah.
And okay, so a little technical difficulty. We had a few shoggoths in the pipes, but we've just cleaned them out. So okay, so back to it. Right. So Palliser says, meet me at St. Nicholas. Yeah, he'll write down St. Nicholas's Church, Povinets, look for the wooden spire. I will be there at noon in 48 hours' time. And basically, the map is very similar to the one that Weston drew you. It's got a big circle, which is the lake. You are here, and the Povinets is on the opposite side. Pretty much,
Right.
he says. In fact, he says, Povinets. It is not far from where that Krylov lives. He lives upon the shore near there.
Oh, there's handy.
That's quite convenient, yes.
When we are
Or as the
fleeing.
Welsh would say, there's lovely.
Good thing we got a boat.
He says, when you come, do you have a camera? Bring a camera.
Yes.
Yes.
Yes, we do.
It may be useful. Now I've talked for too long. I must return before I'm noticed. Was there anything last you must tell me today?
No. I think
Or
that's it.
needed to know?
Only to have a think about this opportunity to go. We have everything in place to help you leave with us if that's what you want.
And potentially Nadezhda too, if she wanted to.
Yes.
Kind of
Away from
looks
this
at
place,
you.
start over.
He looks, and I will think about this, but I fear you already know my answer. And with that, he kind of turns and walks briskly in the direction of the shore towards the boat. Okay, so no one thought to ask him about Krylov's house, exactly where it was or anything.
No.
We've got a
I
magic
tried.
rock.
I tried to
very
give you the.
next.
I tried to put it on a plate for you, but.
We've got a magic rock. Magic rock will lead us.
Magic
Come on,
rock.
quick,
Is
Well,
it?
exactly. Why do you need anything else? You have got the magic rock. Indeed, yes, I forgot.
We're doing a sci-fi game next, so I can prompt them when I'm not in the scene.
It's
No,
hilarious
Eleanor.
watching you going.
I need a sketchbook full of faces, and Maxime's, you know.
So, unless you want to go and do something, set fire to the station or do something heroic like that, I presume you kind of eventually
yeah.
make your way back to Anna's. So, Eleanor, can I have an intro from you, please?
No.
Okay.
We've
Okay.
rotted her
So,
brains from a distance.
luckily,
Can't believe what I just rolled.
Anna makes her learn spell roll quite well, and so by about 6 o'clock tonight, she's finally relented, actually listened to you. And,
Stop using your right arm. That's the safe way. You must let the devil in. Let it crawl out of hell and put its talons into your brain. You must allow it. Use the left hand.
I assume we all just walk in halfway through that.
Yes, you learn the spell. Okay. Right. Okay. So
where the hell is Pallister?
He had to return to the boat.
Well, what did you tell him?
He's willing to help us. He will take pictures, and we are to meet him again. But he's not that keen on coming back to England. But he will. But he is keen.
Tell him his wife was staying in Leningrad, did you? You told him that.
We told him his wife was in Leningrad, but there was an opportunity for her to go with him if he decided to go home.
He doesn't want to go home. He just wants to give us lots of interesting dirt on this Russian canal and then stay here.
Well, that's something, I suppose.
I mean,
we can't kidnap the man and take him back. That just wouldn't be on, would it?
The photographs and papers are what are really needed, aren't they?
But if we do get enough evidence to expose this operation, then even if he did stay, it would probably disband or get dissolved, wouldn't it?
Yeah. I mean, he said his work would soon be finished here, and then he's hoping to go back to Leningrad and live with Nadezhda happily ever after. You weren't
I have-
there, Eleanor. We need someone with brains, and you weren't there.
No, Georgina, steady on.
Who's got the lowest look? Is it Maxime?
Possibly.
God.
Why do you ask?
Could you make a look roll, please?
Do I have to? Well, it's not way off, but it's still.
Oh God.
Okay, that's great.
Oh.
I'll just store that one for later. That's
Oh.
okay. Okay, so back at Anna's, obviously debriefing with Eleanor going really well. Everyone's happy that everything was done right and everything you needed to ask was asked. And you have all the information you need, and it's really quite clear what's going to happen next. So
It's a good job you didn't meet Krylov or anything.
About that.
Before Georgina says anything, may I interject and say that we did not spill the beans or anything like that. We resisted him.
So you didn't, answer every question truthfully and honestly or anything like that?
We answered the non-dangerous ones truthfully and honestly. Anything that would have really put our fat in the fire. No, we did very well.
He's very persuasive and
He
not
is.
a nice man,
No.
and deserves all he gets.
Yes, about that. We kind of really do need to sit down and have a think more about what we're actually going to do. We can't just go in there and leave it to chance.
Well,
I mean, we talked to Oleg. Oleg said if any of us was a good enough shot, then we should shoot him from a distance for safety's sake. But I'm sorry, Miss Sullivan, but from what you said, it's
Oh, I'm
probably
not a
too
good
much
shot.
to risk. In that case, we're going to have to try and get close to him, and I will attempt to stab him while he's distracted. But I need you to be standing by with a gun not too far away in case I fail.
Well, look, Francis, at least let me help you with that.
While Francis is saying this, the rest of you can't help but notice, almost unconsciously, he's pulled out this penknife and has opened it and is fiddling with it, and has got this and is looking really intently at this knife all the time, and to the point of when he talks about, I'll have to kill him, he's got it gripped like this, and is doing this kind of motion, completely kind of oblivious of that he's doing it, but you just have, the rest of you are kind of just a little taken aback at the Francis is taking this perhaps seriously, but perhaps a little too seriously in this kind of talk of killing with knives.
Maxime's gonna try and stop him from doing that, kind of hold his hand and say, at least let me help you. We can take him on together.
No, you aren't. Oleg's right, and you know he is. You don't know for a fact that you can do it, and this isn't something we can leave to chance. Killing someone up close and personal is not an easy thing to do if you've never done it before.
No, but
Shooting
none of
something
this has
at a
been easy.
distance is easier.
But I can't shoot. This is it. At least with a blade, I know where to stick it. And you saw me with that monster on the boat.
You dealt magnificently with the monster on the boat, I have to say, Maxime. That was a splendid.
Well, that was. It was more because I acted with instinct, whereas we know that this is coming.
Maxime, do you want to make an intelligence roll?
I can do, yes. Oh, no, I can't. No.
So-
That's a shame.
Did you ask Oleg at all if he would do it?
No,
Did you try to convince him?
no, not his job to do. I mean, although he did seem very keen about him, Krylov, dying because he was a wizard.
You probably don't want to be saying that we're going to another realm to do a ritual then, right?
Probably
Probably best not to mention that one to
No, we're
We
just killing the
haven't, we
wizard to stop
haven't.
him from casting a ritual. That would be bad.
yes.
There's a lovely smell of stew that Zoya has prepared to make sure you've all got a hearty meal before you go murdering.
I love Zoya. She's the best thing about this dreadful place.
While you're eating the stew, Oleg appears. He said he'd be there about 7. He's got there 10 minutes early or whatever. Has arrived, and Zoya is pressing a large bowl of soup into his hands, stews into his hands as well. There's also some canned beef, bread, pickled dills, and sour cream and salt, and the mugs of goat's milk as well. While you sit having your last meal, you
Hang on. We haven't screwed it up yet.
Thank you.
What he means is the last meal in the town.
in
Oh,
tonight,
ye of
the
little faith.
last meal tonight. That's all I'm saying. Oleg says that he's done a bit of quiet hush asking around to try and pinpoint where on the shoreline, on the opposite side of the lake, you kind of need to go in terms of where Krylov is, and he says he's learnt that Krylov has a villa which is on the shoreline, and that he's got a pretty good idea roughly of where abouts that is, and hopefully you'll be able to kind of pinpoint it down when you get closer to it tonight. But he said that's the best he could do, and hopes that will be enough.
Over the dinner, I'd like to ask Oleg if he fought in the war at all.
You really don't have any faith in us at all, do you?
He says, I have played my part, but those days are over. I'm an old man now, and battles are for the young. He says quite decisively, by the way. Okay. Firmly, yes. Okay, so before you set off, the rock crystal thing that Gottman gave you is heavy and dull, not glowing at all. But hopefully might start glowing later. I presume you've got various weaponry with you: sword sticks, knives, penknife, a
I've
rifle.
got a big hunting knife as well.
Yeah.
Dual stabs on both
you do, don't
kidneys.
you? Yeah.
Okay.
I've got bread knife. Do you want a bread knife?
Yeah.
I've got a hunting knife and a pen knife. That should do. I've only got 2 hands. I'm not going to put one in my teeth.
No, well, I'm just saying. I've got.
Well, if all else fails and I don't stab him, and Maxime fails to stab him, and you fail to shoot him, then you may need that bread knife.
That's a good point.
A horrible feeling this is going to go all Rasputin.
Anna says at this point,
he's a magician. He's magic. Like we're going to be able to sneak up on him and stab him in the back. I mean, really.
Anna says, this Krylov, when he came to see me, he had a notebook with my name in it.
Yes.
Is it your intention to reclaim
destroy
this
that
notebook?
thing and burn it? Yes.
Yes.
Reclaim. Good phrase. Yes.
That would be wise, she says.
Property is theft.
Someone was paying attention on the boat.
Okay, so Anna then says, right, please come to me. I will give you this. I have prepared for you. And she gathers you into a little circle, and she takes an iron hammer and strikes a pair of iron tongs rapidly 12 times, sort of metal banging on metal. Then she gives each of you a small cloth bag tied with string. And as she gives it to you, she closes a hand over your hand holding the pouch, and with her other hand places it on your forehead and whispers something you can't quite catch. And she also does this to Oleg as well. He looks a little put out and looks a little worried, but he kind of goes along with it because I guess he feels he, best not annoy the witch. And she said, "Keep this with you tonight. It will serve you. This is your blessing."
Roughly how big and heavy is this?
Oh, it's about this. It's just a tiny pouch. It's just you can put it around your neck in a pocket kind of thing. It's not gonna.
Yeah, I was just thinking I'm actually gonna attach it to the same chain my crucifix is on, and then get it sort of tucked under my vest.
Okay.
I'm tucking it straight in my brassiere. If it's important, it's not going to fall out of a pocket. Oh no.
I shall cherish it and walk with the grace of God.
Okay. Okay, with that done, Anna says, may grace go with you and good fortune in this dark night and dark endeavors, and kicks you out, basically.
Indeed.
Well,
Well,
say thank you to her.
we don't have long to get to the other place once we've dispatched Krylov. Will we meet Anna there?
She looks, I can meet you there. You know how to find the way?
No.
I believe so, but only in daylight. Don't know if we'll find it in the dark.
No. Can we meet you somewhere so that you can? Because we are likely to be against a, time.
Tell Oleg where.
Before you, I will be here. You are gone tonight. You will return before dawn.
All right, we will come back here.
We'll come back here.
I will meet you here, and then we will then decide.
Haste.
Then yes,
yeah,
that would be best. If you do not return, I know things have not gone well, and I will endeavour to perform this spell you have taught me myself, although I fear it will not be enough.
Should we leave the 77 seeds with her just in case?
Yes.
77 anythings will do, but by sure, take these seeds.
Just thinking ahead here.
Okay, she takes the seeds, and that's all good. Okay, so you head out to the boat with Oleg. As you are kind of casting off, he does mention about, he kind of turns a bit aside to maybe Maxime or somebody and says, I was a little scared when Anna began her magic on us. I am afraid of such things. She did. I heard many stories of Anna. She turned someone into a dog. I'm very, very wary of such things. You can see him. He's holding this pouch up, and he's like, "I think to throw this into the water." Yes, you think?
No,
it's a blessing.
So maybe we should look inside.
I wouldn't anger a witch by doing such things. She's giving you her blessing.
He looks in two minds about it all.
It's better not to.
There is
keen to
nothing to
open the
lose by
pouch.
keeping it.
No, I think that would be a very bad idea. You know
Does
this
somebody
whole
want to?
hospitality thing that you Russians are very, very keen on. Well, I mean, this is a gift, and we've certainly been told that it's very rude to return a gift or to destroy a gift. So maybe if you just look at it less as a magic, as more as just sort of like a little present. And if
But
it's
this bag,
really, it's just to make her feel better rather than you.
might contain the heart of a devil, or
It's too small.
No.
No.
No. Anna is a God-fearing woman. I very much doubt it would be that.
you can see he doesn't really he doesn't really believe you, but he kind of like, oh, all right, I'll put it in this pocket and try and forget about it, or something like that.
Exactly. You'll forget about it in time, I'm sure. So small.
You can only hope.
The boat you're on is this kind of tall-sided, rounded bows with a square stern, like a rowboat, but it's quite big. It's about 30 feet in length.
Okay.
It's fairly old. The wood is rough and grey, smeared with tar. Simple open hull with a mast and a foremast, tiller, and a pair of large rowing oars. And there are space for four sets of oars, as it were, but there's two large sets of oars. He sets a sail up and takes a boat hook and starts to crack the ice around the boat. And once that's done, sets off. He sits down in the bow oar where he can control the nose of the boat. There's a lantern forward, but he doesn't light it. And he basically starts ordering you about to, do this, do that, to just, get the boat going and whatnot. Can I get a combined strength and dex check from you all?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, this could be bad.
As you start pulling on ropes and things and hauling sails up and whatnot.
No, you can't.
I
Yes.
can't
Yep.
pass strength, but I failed dex.
Okay.
That's both.
Okay.
They fail on strength, but a good pass on dex.
Okay. After a minute or two of this going on, he basically tells pretty much everyone but Maxime to kind of, well, you just sit down there and just mind that oar. Mind that oar while Maxime actually does it all quite properly, as it were. And he seems to then throughout the journey, when anything needs doing, he just basically turns to Maxime to do it, because you get the impression that he only now trusts Maxime to be able to do anything. But
if man was supposed to be in the water, God would have given him gills.
We're not. We're on the water.
It's near enough. Boats. Never good on boats.
As you kind of, get onto the lake proper, it's cold, bitterly cold. You're completely exposed in this little wooden boat on this big lake. The few lights of town recede behind you into the distance, and soon, they're gone, and it's just kind of darkness because it's got no light lit up on the boat. It's very silent, apart from the creak of the rope and the timbers and the wind in the sails. The water, without the light, is just like this dark kind of treacle that you're sailing through. It just has the feeling that it's really, really deep.
Not really loving being on a small boat in the middle of this unpleasantly spooky lake. Just saying.
I'm not sure I should be here at all.
About, around about 11:30, you are nearing the other side of the lake. So you've been in there, 3.5 hours or so. Maxime notices that the crystal thing is emitting a very dim, faint glow.
Ah, it's finally starting to light up. We're getting near.
He's now kind of pulling along the shoreline, and he's kind of looking to you where you want to be put off. As you kind of looking, as you kind of get going along, the light is growing in intensity. It maybe is working somewhat like some sort of homing beacon of some kind, but it definitely is kind of getting a bit brighter. But can I have a listen roll?
Maybe. No.
No.
This is deafening.
Oh God, no.
I
I
could spend
actually
8 luck.
fumbled that.
I'll.
I wouldn't spend it yet. You'd be fine.
Okay.
If you don't want, unless you don't, you really want
Might
to.
need it.
Hang on
I'm
to the book.
just cautioning you. He kind of he's looking at you for where to drop off, and clearly none of you really know where you need to be dropped off, and he kind of senses that. So he kind of pilots along for a little bit, and actually it's getting as it actually gets to 12 o'clock, the crystal is not brightly shining, but it is stronger, much stronger where you are now. And you now hear some sort of song kind of on the breeze. It can't be that far away from you from the shore. And as you look, you can, in the moonlight, you can make out this sort of promontory coming, to the shore of the lake. And the angle you're in, you can think maybe that's a kind of the roof of a villa, maybe just beyond that. And the light is getting stronger as you get closer to this. Could I have a spot hidden roll?
Yes.
No.
No.
Yes.
Okay. Is anyone using binoculars, or is it just eyes? Just before I tell you what you see.
Just eyes.
Just eyes for
Opera
me. I haven't
glasses.
got any binoculars.
It's a bit dark for binoculars.
Did you make your spot hidden, Maxime?
Yeah, I still failed it.
You failed it. Okay. Those of you who are looking without any aid, you make out as you kind of focus on this promontory, which is about 400 yards away from you, probably. You see some sort of movement, and you think you're seeing a figure kind of visible against the sky, near on the edge of this promontory, looking over the lake. And you can see them kind of raising their hands like this, and that's at that point you can all kind of make him out, and you can now look through, point in the right direction with your glasses. And those of you with looking through opera glasses can see, you can make your best guess, because obviously it's dark and it's only a silhouette, but this silhouette looks like it's bold. It's a very rounded top. So you think maybe this could be Krylov. What do you want to tell Oleg? What do you want to do?
Oleg, that's him up there. Can you find us somewhere safe to drop us off so we can all the rest of the way?
He nods, and he starts to pull in, and basically there's a kind of a spot probably about 200 yards away from this promontory. It's about half the distance where you are. He kind of pulls in, and you are pulls into the shore there, quietly. You can now, looking up, you can see this figure seems to be like moving in a circle, sort of, quite, not a massive circle, but going round and round, basically. Sometimes sort of bending down, sometimes straightening. They seem pretty, focused on what they're doing, and they don't seem to have, certainly doesn't seem to have noticed you. You're out down in the darkness, kind of way below. What do you want to do? You're at the shore.
I want to study him and see, is he doing the same ritual? And if he is, I want to pick up basically tips.
Okay. It looks similar. It looks very similar. Obviously, it's difficult at this distance to know exactly, but it does seem very similar. Perhaps it is. If you make a hard intelligence roll.
Oh no.
Okay. You think it is, but there's no tips to be had in this sense. That he's not doing anything that you didn't expect in that sense.
Excuse me, I'm just going to order some new dice.
Okay.
Right. Well, I'm going to sneak up and get myself. I'm going to have a study to see if there's a pattern. And then I'm going to sneak up. And then when I think is the most opportune moment, when he comes nearest to where I'm hiding, I'm just going to leap out.
So you're going to go up from the shore towards the promontory, and basically, come up from behind him. So basically, that's what you'd need to do. Or I mean, obviously, you could climb up the promontory and come up, like over the cliff face, but that might be slightly more risky, I'm guessing.
Yeah, that would be a lot more risky. Yeah.
So that's your plan, Francis. Is everyone else sitting in the boat, or what?
No.
What's going on?
I think Maxime would do the same as Francis, but probably take another vantage point that's close-ish. So if Francis fails, then Maxime can kind of launch out and try and get him from there.
I just feel I'm completely useless. I sort of want to help, but at the same point,
Well, make sure you're close enough so that if it all goes wrong, you can still shoot him. Because if you're close enough, you can shoot him.
That's true. All right, I shall creep with the boys then.
Okay.
I'm gonna try and sneak a peek through a window of the villa, see if anybody else is there.
Okay, so Eleanor, you're going to go out with them, but at the point that you're going to split off them and you're going to go towards the villa. Yeah. Okay.
He's writing in his little black book.
Writing me notes.
Oh, that's a point. Yes. See if you can find his black book.
Unless he keeps it on his person.
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. So, it is a steep incline up this towards the level that he's on, even though you're not climbing up the promontory itself. So I do need a touch of a climb roll from all of you.
Oh God, this is where it all goes utterly bosom skyward, isn't it?
Oh, the comedy.
Oh God.
No.
I've definitely got the wrong shoes on.
Oh no.
For someone with such a high dex, my climb is ridiculously low.
So did anyone make it?
No, Mike.
So everyone failed that. Okay. So what happens is you make it up there, but you do have a few bumps and scrapes as you do, because obviously you're trying to be quiet. So nobody kind of falls off. It's not like a sheer cliff or anything, but you kind of stumble, stamp your feet, or you stamp your toe kind of thing, cut your hand on some sharp rock or whatever. You try and get a handhold up. And so you all are going to lose a point of damage.
For the first time this whole campaign, I lose
And
a point
so
of
it
damage.
begins.
Yeah,
Here
it's
we
only going to
go.
get worse from here on in.
You're now about 30 feet above the lake. And
Okay.
as you look towards the promontory, which is now somewhere in the region of, 200, 250 yards away from where you are now, you can now see the villa beyond, which is a single level building. There is light in at least one of the windows that you can see. There are banks of pines a little further inland. And you can just make out another building, maybe beyond the villa, maybe, just beyond the villa, basically. But nobody else in sight apart from this figure on the promontory. There's you can make out there's an inland lake, a small body of water close to your left. As you kind of scramble across the rocks quietly, the footing is difficult. It's uneven granite, and it's snowed and a bit icy and all that kind of thing. Could I have a jump roll from you all, please?
Oh.
And the chances
never
of us
do a
making
jump
this,
roll.
this is to
If you want to use any luck, now's a really good time to make sure that you.
Fluff. Right, okay.
I
Come
can't
on.
spend 80 luck.
Woo! I actually made that miraculously.
No, I did not make that, and I do not have enough luck to spend on it to make it.
Okay,
No
there's
way.
a bit of a fissure that you kind of. The quickest way towards him would be to jump over this fissure. So I'm assuming that some of you gave it a go, and if you were successful, Maxime, you made it, did you? Yeah.
Very much did not make it. No.
Oh, who made it? Oh, Georgina.
Yeah.
Georgina kind of just went ahead, jumped over this like it was nothing, and the rest of you kind of went to go and do the same as Georgina and realized no, that's far too dangerous, and I'm probably going to make a noise. So you stop yourselves. You can walk around this. It's just going to take a little longer to do, and it just makes you a little bit more visible. You might have to basically. You can make a stealth roll and go round, or you can give it another try, but it's a push roll.
Oh no, I'm just going to make the stealth roll. Well, I'm possibly not going to make the stealth roll, considering my stealth is as bad as my jump and my climb.
Same. Even though it's got a lovely tick, but I haven't advanced it, so.
While they're doing that,
I'm spending
gonna
8 points of luck to make that a success.
8 points. Oh Lord.
Well, if we get spotted, it's bad.
I haven't got enough luck. No.
I'd like to get out my opera glasses and have a little look at that figure on the promontory.
Yep.
Just
okay.
to check
doing
that it is Mr. Pylon.
Francis has stealthily gone round. Eleanor, what's happened with you?
I was sneaking up to the villa.
Did you make the stealth roll?
Oh, sorry. Well, I was walking quite casually up to the villa, apparently.
Did you make the jump roll? You didn't.
No, I thought that was people going up to the promontory.
That's fine. That's fine. Okay. So yeah, you go around, but you do you stumble on the snow a little bit, and you make a little bit of noise, but you think you're okay. So you kind of crouch down and carry on, walk towards the villa. Maxime, you didn't do your stealth roll, did you?
Failed it.
Again, slippy with this icy snow and uneven ground. And again, what you do is you kind of fall over for a moment, kind of catch yourself on your hands, which takes another point of damage as you cut your hand. But you let out a little audible kind of ouch, kind of gaspy type noise. But while this is all happening, and Georgina, you hear the noises behind you, and you've got your eyes trained through your glasses on this figure to see whether what happens, ready to kind of throw yourself to the ground when you're expecting him to look over to you. Doesn't seem to notice. Seems to carry on, kind of doing this kind of thing and round in a circle. and this kind of making this kind of, well, could you call it a song? It's, you know, it's a sort of song, sort of noise coming out of him. But
and it's definitely
Krylov.
Krylov.
You think it's definitely Krylov, and the song is louder, and Maxime, as you stumble, the stone kind of jumps out of your jacket or pocket or arm or whatever, and you realise it's glowing quite strongly, and it is possibly a bit of a giveaway. So you kind of maybe take the opportunity to shove it inside your jacket or whatever.
Yeah. I grab it immediately and put it in my inside pocket instead.
Okay, fine. Okay, so eventually, you know, stealthily or not quite so stealthily, you're about 100 yards away from this figure on the promontory now. Obviously, Eleanor is moving away and heading towards the villa, which is obviously a little bit further back. But you seem to have, now you're there with this, you know, there's various pines and bushes that were seen quite, you know, Spartan when you kind of were looking up, but now when you're hiding behind one of them, it's pretty good cover, you know, you can in theory choose your moment, I guess.
I'm going to position myself somewhere sensible with my back to a tree and a useful rock to lean the rifle on, just to give myself every opportunity, just in case anything goes wrong, to add a shot in there.
As you get closer to the villa, Eleanor, could I have a listen roll?
You know what? I'll spend 1 luck.
Okay.
You're still getting replaced nice. That was too many 90s.
You hear a cough. It's not like next to you or anything like that. You basically hear a cough and a sound. Your guess is that this is coming from the other side of the villa, from the front of it.
Okay.
You hear like the scrape, like someone is kind of moving on the gravel, but then it kind of goes still, and you hear a kind of a strike sound, like a lighter or match kind of clicking, but then it's pretty quiet again. But you just get the sense that is coming from either the far side of the house or maybe the front of the house.
Okay, I'm going to pick up a large stone and I'm going to throw it in a direction that is, so as I picture it, the promontory is sort of over on the right somewhere.
So the promontory is you're about 100 yards away from the figure at the end of this promontory. Yeah, the house is about 100 yards away from in the direct line now. So whatever noise you make is probably going to be heard by everyone. Yeah.
Yeah, but I want to throw it in the opposite direction of the promontory.
Yeah.
And I'm just going to throw it into the undergrowth. So it's not necessarily going to be a loud noise. I'm not throwing it against something. But I just want to make a sound that sort of, so my hope is that volume-wise, it's actually not that loud, but I'm hoping that really it's the person that's having a cigarette the other side of the house.
You're trying to distract them.
Yeah, because I don't want them to...
with that intention, obviously at this point, you're at the rear of the house. So so you can only kind of throw it left or right. You might be better going around to the... Go round, go around the side of the house, near to the front, but not obviously to the front, and then throwing it off, because that's going to be more in the, more in the range of the person out front if they're out front.
Okay, so
that makes sense. Otherwise, you're throwing it in the rear, and it may have no effect whatsoever there. I'm just saying you probably realise that. Okay. Okay. Can you give me a throw roll then?
these dice roll in the 90s again. I tell you, they're getting melted down. Oh, still pathetic. Okay, so I should probably dice off to see whether I hit Francis or Maxime, really.
Was
If you've gone around the side of the house, you shouldn't actually be anywhere near us because we're not
you're
on
not-
the
you're
side
not
of the
anywhere
house.
near.
I know,
Was it-
but still.
Was it a fail or a fumble?
It was a fail. It was an assertive fail.
Oh no! He's so
Looks
horrified
like-
by your appalling ability to throw that he's frozen in time again.
You hit Mike
looks
with
like
the
it's-
rock.
He looks like he's mid-sneeze.
It does. Well,
Wow.
folks, I think we're just going to take a brief break to see if we can get him back. Otherwise, this is one heck of a cliffhanger to finish on this week. Hopefully back in a moment.
Okay, so right, Shoggoth's still getting in the way. Right, okay, so Eleanor, you failed your throw roll, but can I have a look roll, please?
Just spent the luck.
You've still
Maybe I
got
should
more than me.
change dice for this. Oh, finally! Yes,
Success.
I passed the roll.
Success. Okay, fine.
Yay.
Okay, so all we need to remember is that you made the look success, but you found the okay. So basically, the stone goes into some undergrowth. It does make a bit of noise. It's a little bit more noise than you thought it was going to make, but it's you know, basically bounced off a tree, and it was a little obvious, but you think you got away with it, basically, if you know what I mean. It looked more like somebody throwing a stone than you know, making a distraction, if you see what I mean. But you think it's okay, and you hear some someone walking in, you know, icy gravel around the front. What do you do now?
Okay, so the angle you repositioned me to, where you say go around the front, just so I've got it clear in my head.
So this is the house. This is the house. Yeah.
No!
So, I guess
those
we'll see you next week, folks.
This is the back of the house.
Oh no, he's
Oh
back.
no, he's back! He's back!
Hey!
Right. So, this is the house.
Yeah, yeah.
You were here. You went around the side. You threw the stone over here somewhere. The noise is coming from here.
Okay, I'm going to go back to the side I was at on the grounds that I won't get spotted there.
Okay, so you go back round to the rear of the house. Okay, so at rear of the house.
Engage cowardice.
Fine. Okay, so at this point, when Eleanor is about to kind of you know, bother the villa in some way, the three of you are hunched in the shrubbery, rifle poised, knife poised, and fencing foil knives and fencing foil poised, ready to do whatever you're going to do. We will leave it there and pick it up with the high octane action next Tuesday at 8 o'clock. Be here for the exciting conclusion to this particular chapter, and we'll see you then. Thanks for watching. Bye for now.
If anyone wants to buy a set of dice that roll high,